Welcome to Here's How We Get There. It's the daily show filled with conversations about business and mental health in a down-to-earth style with real-world language. Now let's dive in with your co-hosts, Kenneth Shark-Kinney and Trey Tucker.
All right, Trey, I wanted to take one more opportunity for you to again tell us you went to the University of Florida, where they used to have a football team, but what's really been in the news was conference realignment. So for whatever weird reason, the ACC has expanded with basically absorbing several of the Pac-12 schools. That conference is, remember this was a Power Five, and now it's a Big Four. But they pulled Cal and Stanford along with SMU and put them with teams on the Atlantic Coast Conference because they wanted to make apparently the men's and women's volleyball and lacrosse teams fly all the way over but stop. You don't want to go all the way to Hawaii, but we're going to stop there at Stanford and in the Bay Area. But they've now changed this up so much with college sports, and the dominoes are continuously moving before they fall over. How do you look at conference realignment with where we are today?
Well, first of all, I wish they would just call the ACC, not the Atlantic Coast Conference, but the All Coast Conference, because let's stop kidding ourselves. This is not about geography. This is about money. The answers to all your questions are about money, essentially, is what the old quote that I've heard is. But I think eventually the ACC is going to go the way of the Pac-12 extinction, and we're going to end up with the SEC and the Big Ten, and even they might change their names. I don't know, but essentially you'll have an NFL dynamic of AFC, NFC, 20 teams in each division, and then you have a playoff system like we have now, and boom, you have a championship or a mini Super Bowl. I wish that we could at least have the semblance of amateurism again. I know it wasn't even true amateurism back then. We just kind of like to pretend that it was, but I don't know. It's losing its charm, and it's just become too much about money and less about the athletes, especially the non-football athletes.
Yeah, we're at an inflection point in history with this change, but then there'll be another one a year or two later. That's the weird thing about this. This has been changing so rapidly over the last several years when the SEC started to pick up Texas and Oklahoma and all these changes that are continuous and over, but it's the pursuit of billions of dollars that have made this so incredibly awkward. And at least to your point about the NFL, the Dallas Cowboys never should have been part of the NFC East, but it makes sense for TV ratings and TV dollars. But at least it's been stable. They've been, whatever you call it, at least it's been fairly stable for quite a few years. This is continuously changing, and I don't think they have a clue where this is going to happen. I have no idea. Are we going to get down to a big three at some point? The Big Ten became 12 teams. The Big 12 became 14, and the SEC is the only one that even remotely looks stable because they're just pulling in that mid-tier conference team that comes up to the big leagues, if you will, the SEC. I just wish there was some stability because this is really going to tax a lot of the kids who are, I don't even think it's interesting to see Cal or Stanford play Florida or Georgia. There's nothing that, or not Florida or Georgia, but Clemson. There's nothing that is remotely interesting about that to me from a sports fan standpoint as well.
Yeah, and nobody's leading. That's the thing. Everybody's just fighting over dollars. There's no leader.
All right. Well, let's support our crappy little teams that are closer to us, and we'll see you on the other side.
Thank you for joining Shark and Trey on the Here's How We Get There show. Make sure to rate, review, and subscribe to the show, and visit here'showwegetthere.com. That's here'showwegetthere.com.